Welcome to Principles of Sustainable Design. My name is Professor Rob Fleming. I'm the director of the Sustainable Design program here at Philadelphia University. I'm excited to offer this new course in January 2015. In 2005, a series of events occurred that fundamentally altered our relationship to the natural world. While there was no direct proof that Hurricane Katrina was a result of global warming, many in the world began to make a further connection along those lines. In 2010, the BP oil spill reminded us of that while we have lots of oil left, it's harder to get and the risks are greater. Hurricane Sandy, Cyclone Phelan, and Typhoon Haiyan further drove home the point that climate change has dramatic impact. And finally, in 2014, the California wildfires and epic drought further reminded us of what the price we may pay for climate change. So our world is changing, and our values and behaviors are beginning to change as well. Green design is becoming the norm in some countries, but is it going to be enough? We can begin to understand the situation by looking at the planet Earth and its declining resources and ecosystem services. At the same time, there's an increasing demand for those same resources. If those two vectors cross, we reach a point of unsustainability. We worry about peak oil, severe climate change, ecosystem collapse, and finally lower quality of life or even loss of life. As a response, we can begin to think of sustainability as an opportunity to think about jumping over what I call the razor's edge to replenish resources through design and also decrease demand for those same resources. Sustainable design then becomes the levers by which we begin to turn those curves upside down. In order to do this, we start the course with looking at the context of sustainability and the long history of planet Earth and the relatively short time that humans have been on the planet. Furthermore, we look at sustainability as the next in a series of worldview shifts that fundamentally have new ways of thinking about our relationship to the natural world. In week 2, we look at the relationship between self-interest and empathy, between greed and altruism, or between materialism and bleeding heart liberalism. And we can study Adam Smith's invisible hand, but also the second invisible hand, and maybe have the idea that sustainability is the great resolution of the two. In week 3, we get into frameworks of sustainability, and we use what's called the quadruple bottom line here at Philadelphia University, where we've added the experiential bottom line to the other normal bottom lines that we expect to see. And this gives us a much more holistic understanding of sustainability. We go deeper into frameworks by looking at sustainability as a meta-paradigm, and more specifically integral theory as a framework that we can use, where we can understand experiences, behaviors, cultures, and systems. And finally, we look at integral sustainable design as a framework for architecture in the 21st century. We then get into perspectives on sustainability, looking at energy use and demand, supply, that would be fossil fuels, transitional sources, and of course, renewable sources. But we also look at how we can begin to reduce demand and think about buildings that are not only energy efficient, but actually export energy back to the grid. So this is the Bullitt Center in Seattle, Washington by Muller Architects. We get into environmental literacy and the state of the environment as a result of our activities, and we begin to have a giant map of all of the different impacts. And we look at the relationships and amplification and feedback loops that we see in climate change and global warming. At the end of the course, we begin to think about the frameworks and the perspectives and the context, and we begin to think about how can each of us have impact and address some of the opportunities and issues that we see in the 21st century. So the course ends with a really fun and engaging impact project. So I hope you enjoyed my little introduction, and I hope that you're interested in taking this course in January 2015. I look forward to seeing you there.